Hall of Fame weekend this past weekend, speaking of success. Did you go? How was it? What do you guys talk about there? Do you talk about the state of football? Is it off the field stuff? What are conversations normally like amongst the greats in Canton, Ohio?
Yes, I went. Listen, I'm so honored to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame that I told myself that I'm going to try to make it every single year. If I can make it, I'm trying to say that that's my commitment to go back every year. Yes, we talk about the state of football, and we had a conversation this year talking about the running backs and really the state of the running back and what's happening, and trying to find some solution to how backs are really being kind of pushed out of the sport, just like fullbacks are no longer a part of the sport. So it's sad to see. You're almost damned if you're a back and you are really good and you earn that second contract, they look at you like, wait a minute, you're used up. We can't sign you to a big time extension because we know that you put the mileage on.
Why do you?
And then if you
why you
they don't pay you
that, T?
Why they do it now?
Yeah,
I do not have a clue.
This is stats and analytics, I think.
Yeah.
I think this is stats and analytics. You know what I mean? But unless it's 100% to 0%, it's hard for me to believe it. This is like whenever stats and analytics started coming in to every decision that was being made in football games. And like some coaches are like, I'm a stats guy. And 65% of the time, this was going to work. It's like, that's 35% of the time not going to work. Family's getting fired. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And who knows if just now that number's just going into that overall stat, and all of a sudden it's that 64.9%.
Yeah,
it's like that those stats aren't getting fired. You know what I mean? So, and there's anomalies to stats and stuff like that. I believe, Pac, it is because they get these analytics telling them how running backs do after year 5.
Yes.
This is just 80% of running backs after year 5. This is their. Well, what about that 20% though? You know, like are we kind of going to lose out on that 20%, or are we just banking that we can get a stable of 3 people instead of kind of risk on that? It's just that's what I think it is. Too much information. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think we got too much information right now. Scaring.
That's a great point. That's a great point because they always make this. I always see the stat like after a back carries the ball like 350 times. You know, you look at the years after that, and it tends to drop a lot. The production goes down. I think to your point, Pat, they look at that as sort of analytics and baseline and say, well, this guy's already had so much usage, and we don't think based off history, we don't see any more production being squeezed out of his back, and so why pay them? Now I've talked to a good friend of mine, Jim Trotter, and I was trying to come up with a solution to how do we make sure backs get paid. My solution was number one, that you create a pool, right? I mean, it's just like a salary cap, or just like the franchise tag, but you have to spend that amount on that position. So let's say quarterbacks is 50, you cap out quarterbacks at 50 million. Running backs have to be, let's say 20 million, whatever it is, but you have to spend that money. You can't, just like the regular cap, you got to spend the 200 and I don't know what the cap is now, something $1 million on the players. It's either that, but he came up with a better one. He said, why do we even have position caps anyway? Why are we paying players by position? Other sports don't do that. Basketball don't do that. Baseball doesn't do that. So they should remove the position and say, hey, if you are a good player, whether you're a quarterback, receiver, or running back, you should be able to get paid. Backs shouldn't be lumped into one little category where the franchise tag is so low.
Boy.
The franchise tag is $10 million. Pat, I talked to Edgerrin James. When he was playing, the franchise tag was $8.5 million. $8.5 million. It has only gone up $1 million, $1.5 million. Every other position, the cap has exploded. The franchise tags, theirs have gone up, backs have gone down. So it's like, why do you keep putting backs in a category? Just don't use a category. If they're best player on your team,
TD, I love what you guys are saying. I love what Jim Trotter's saying. I love what you're saying. But that would only be possible in like the next CBA. Could you imagine being able to get that done in a CBA? Like how we even got to this point of players, like the tight end's not happy about it either. You know, the tight ends are in a situation where they're running backs, obviously. I think safeties, there's like a lot of nickel there. There was like a starting to break down the nickel position. Congrats to Rondé, by the way, getting into the Hall of Fame this particular year. There's a lot of that. I would love that to be the case. Negotiation-wise, though, that's going to be impossible. You know what I mean? Like, sounds like the NFL, the amount of things that the NFLPA would have to give up to get all those things just seems like we're at I don't know how you fix it other than the rookie contracts for running backs are higher than what they have been because we know that the best 5-6 years are going to be the first 5-6 years. Yeah. So, like, unless all the running backs coming out of college decided, like, nope, we're not going to take the slotted thing. We're going to try to get more for the first 5-6 years of our deal as opposed to every other position that's trying to get to their second contract. We're just trying to get to our first contract. I don't know how you fix it, honestly.
Well, it's got to be it's got to be a lot of courage, man. That means that they got to come together and say, you know, we're not showing up until it gets fixed.
Oh.
And another thing too, Pat, listen, and here's the other thing. So in most times, the quarterback's best friend is a really good running back. But when negotiations come down and when these backs are struggling, I don't ever hear a quarterback step up and say, hey, dude. But I don't see it. So QBs are going to have to step up and help out the guy in most cases who helps them get their contract. But
a lot of these backs that's up right now have either been hurt or was hurt before this year.
Yeah.
And either had a good year. This is not a year where all these backs have been balling for 2-3 years. Like, you can go through the whole list. Like, none of these guys have been healthy for 2 years straight, the last 2 years, or we probably wouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah, it's like any position. If you have any injuries, there's a chance they're going to be hesitant. But it feels like at this particular position, Josh Jacobs, has he been?
I mean, he broke his hand, but he played. Yeah. You know,
they had him throw a ball. Remember, he broke a thumb.
Yep.
Go to the tent, come back out. Yeah, he broke his thumb. All right, sweet. We're going to throw a pass.
Halfback pass.
They had him throw a pass first play back.
Never see it coming.
I couldn't even imagine what was going through his head. Hey, bud, I can't even fucking – we're running with my left hand.
It hurts.
Now you want me to throw a ball. I don't know how that works. But, like, I do believe personally, to Pac's point, Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, I don't want to go back 2 years. I'll just go back last year. Much different conversation.
Yeah.
And I guess Dalvin, too.
Oh, yeah.
What Dalvin was able to do.
Eckler.
Then, like, Najee – and like Jonathan Taylor, no offense, I love Jonathan Taylor. We need Jonathan Taylor. But last year, Jonathan Taylor was not good. He was hurt. Yeah. It was not good football. Our team was terrible. Yeah. So he's like not winning anybody over with like, hey, I should be paid right now. It's like.
And Barkley was good. He was good last year, but where the hell he been the last 3 years?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. But bag was on the line. He showed up.
You're right, but okay. So if we can't get that done, then right, if you can't redo the CBA, obviously that's some years down the road.
Yeah, Jim Irsay said, "Nah, we ain't doing it." That's what Jim Irsay he tweeted it. Yeah, I'm just telling
you. But then let's give a compensation. Let's give some type of package, incentive package.
Yeah,
that's on the sideline. That's available. A pool of money that's available to some of these backs when they do reach those milestones or hit those. You know, if you're getting 1,400 yards or 1,300 yards, there should be some money in the pot that pays you based off that back should have gotten, you know.
So it's like a player performance.
Do that. The agent should do that.
No, so I think that would have to be NFLPA and NFL negotiated. That'd be like player performance bonuses that happen after the year. If you do recall those bonuses are handed out for if a guy outplays his contract worth. For instance, AQ Shipley, a friend of mine, he would get like 300,000, 350,000 player performance bonuses that would come in like March from the NFLPA that had a pool where it was like he outplayed his contract. So you could certainly add into that for like position groups, position specific. Hey, there is a way.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk a little bit different. Let's talk about teams. Wait, hey, TD, here we go.
Yeah.
That's why you got that gold jacket.
Hell yeah.
That's why you have that bald head. That's why you have Defy.
Yeah.